You know, stock charting can be pretty technical. That's why they call it technical analysis. But it doesn't have to be that way. After looking at charts for 35 years, just about every day, there's some simple things that I have found that will help you identify good stocks, avoid bad ones. And you can apply these same concepts to anything that you can chart prices of. Commodities, real estate, currency, whatever. As long as you can get a chart, you can use these methods to predict the future. So let's understand those important concepts in a little picture. So what we're going to begin with is how typically stocks move. Usually there's this boring phase where nobody cares about the stock, but there's a shape to that pattern. And then we have the breakout. The breakout happens when something significant is going on in the company. The tendency then is for people to doubt that breakout, and there's a pullback. And then the stock will usually go into an upward trend, often make a falling top, break the upward trend, and then move lower. So what are the important concepts in this chart? The first thing is optimism. When there's rising bottoms on a chart, you have optimism. So if I can draw a little rising green line there, that is my optimism building. Rising bottoms, anywhere you have rising bottoms, is optimism. And that's the time that you want to be in a buying mood of that commodity, stock, whatever. The second concept is resistance. Resistance is a ceiling price. If the price of the stock or whatever you're looking at is bumping up against the same price level over and over again, it tells us that that is the maximum amount that investors will pay for that commodity, that stock, whatever asset it is. That's the maximum amount they are willing to pay for the information that they have. Now, the reason stocks make breakouts is because some new information comes into the market. So when you get a breakthrough resistance from optimism, you're setting up for a good opportunity for that thing to go higher. Now, the other important concept before the breakout is low price volatility. When a stock is moving sideways, so if it's in a sideways pattern like this, it has resistance, it has optimism. Right over here at the pointy tip, that is low price volatility. There's much less price movement here than there is over here. The reason that that happens is because buyers and sellers have come to some agreement about what that stock is worth. And so when you get a break from low volatility, it implies new information coming into the market. Now, once that happens, the stock will tend to trend upward as more and more investors learn about the reason that motivated the buyers to buy that breakout. And in doing so, they create these pullbacks. Each one of these pullbacks is what will define the upward trend line. So we can then draw a line across those bottoms. That is our upward trend line. And as long as we are above that upward trend line, we can say that we are on the front side of the trend. The front side is when you want to be a buyer. When you break the upward trend, as happens right here, now you're on the back side. And the back side is a much tougher place to be a buyer. So when you're looking at a stock, considering whether it's a buy, you want to make sure you are on the front side. Now, the second thing, when do we want to buy a stock that is in an upward trend? Well, the best times to buy is when it's either breaking from low volatility, that's point number one, or when it's breaking a pullback back to the trend line. So any of these are point number two. Now, the first one is going to be the best one, the second one not as good, and the third one even less good. As it goes higher, there is a greater chance that it is going to stop trending higher. Obviously, when you're early in the trend, it's got a lot more upside than when you're late in the trend. Now, trends tend to break after the build of a falling top. A falling top is an indication that the sellers are taking control. The reason is stock investors were not able to push the stock up as much as they had in the previous rallies to the upside, and that falling top is a sign that investor enthusiasm is waning. And then you start to go into a cycle of falling tops. That is pessimism. So when we're trending upward and we have rising bottoms, we have optimism. And when we're trending downward with falling tops, we have pessimism. The key points, again, look for stocks that are trading sideways, breaking from low volatility, from optimism. Once it's in the upward trend, don't chase it. Don't buy these tops. Don't chase it as it runs away from the trend line, because that's where it's overbought. Wait for it to pull back to the trend line. By the break of the pullback, that's a pullback entry. So either buy the breakout or buy pullback entries, but once the trend is broken, once you're on the backside, then you want to either get out of the stock or perhaps favor short selling. All right, so really simple. Comes down to 6 important things: support, resistance, optimism, pessimism, price volatility, and abnormal activity. After 36 years of looking at charts, those are the things that I look at every day. I don't worry about other indicators. I don't try to get fancy or technical with it. Just stick to these important concepts and you'll do just great evaluating stocks with a chart. All right, well now let's apply some of that to what the market is doing right now. Is there going to be a crash? Is the market due for one? Who's in control of the market? The buyers, the sellers, that sort of thing. So to answer that, we'll jump into the Stockscores website and we're going to pull up the S&P 500 first. So this is SPY. And you can see right now that we have a strong upward trend. Now we broke down through support right here, and notice that there was a falling top that built there. We broke the upward trend line, built a falling top, and then broke down from a falling top, and that led to the correction that we had in the month of March. Now in April, we snapped back quite suddenly. In fact, it's a very rare occurrence when you get a V-shaped bottom like this. And so right now we're bullish, in a bullish trend, but it's a little bit extended. If I go to the 3-year weekly chart and draw a trend line, if I draw a line from this low across this low, or better yet, if we just ignore the sell-offs that we've had and just sort of draw a line that best fits this upward trend, ignoring the tariff pullback, ignoring the Iran war pullback, what you see right now is that we're running away from the trend line a little bit. When price runs away from the trend line, it usually comes back to it. It runs away, it comes back to it. So there's no sign that the market's going to pull back yet. There's no sign of weakness. But when you've had the kind of rally that we have had over the last 5 or 6 weeks, just recognize that it's a bit of a danger zone. The other issue is look at volume. Volume in this run higher has been very low relative to normal. And that tells you that the buyers aren't that enthusiastic. They're not super confident. And so we want to be a little bit careful with the market. I think it's risky, but I don't see any sign of weakness. Now the NASDAQ has outperformed lately. There you see the big run. And that's largely because of semiconductors. Semiconductor stocks have led the market higher and they have pulled the NASDAQ up. You can see it's a very strong upward trend. And looking at that 3-year chart again, you just see how far up we've gone in a short amount of time. Very typical post-war startup. When wars start, you get a sell-off because people are scared of how it's going to affect the economy. And then eventually you see the market do very well. We've seen this in every war that I've traded through. All right, let's move along now to the small cap stocks, IWM. And they are not performing as well as the tech stocks or as the large cap stocks. And there's a reason for this, which I'll show you in just a moment. It's still a bullish market. The buyers are in control. You look at that 3-year chart, we are in an upward trend. I don't think it's as risky as the large cap stocks because it hasn't gone up as much. So it's a solid looking market. But again, my main concern is just the lack of strong volume. We've been kind of quiet as the market's been moving upward. But again, we're going to look at a reason for why this market is not keeping up with the large caps in just a moment. First, I will take a look at the Toronto Stock Exchange, which has underperformed over the last month. It has not moved steadily higher, and that's because commodities are a bigger weighting. You know, the gold stocks really helped the TSX outperform last year and into early this year, but the gold market's cooled. We're going to look at that one in just a moment. And so this is still a bull market, but it's lacking the enthusiasm and the buyer support that the US large caps and tech market is showing. Let's take a look at gold now, GLD. And there you see one of the things that's sort of hindering the Canadian market. We've got falling tops on this chart. What is that? Well, we just talked about it. It's pessimism. So there's pessimism there. And if we look at the long-term chart, what you'll see is it ran away from the trend line. So if I draw a little line across these bottoms, See how far above we got from the trend line? And so when that happens, it's very normal to come back to the trend line. You can come back either by going sideways for a long time or pulling back, which is apparently what we're doing now. And so I think that the long-term outlook, because the trend is still up, is good for gold, but it certainly isn't as strong as it was last year. All right, how about oil? Well, obviously with the situation in Iran, oil prices have surged a lot, but there's a lot of volatility in oil prices. You can see wild swings up and down. We are still in the upward trend, but we are flirting with breaking the upward trend line. There is no falling top, and so it's not really a bad market yet, but it's one that's difficult to predict. It's really pushed by headlines, and when headlines come out about something positive with the war, we see oil prices fall. When something negative happens or more conflict happens, then we see oil prices jump. And that's hard to predict. So you just have to be, maybe buying on weakness, but generally speaking, I would be very short-term oriented on trading oil and oil stocks. All right, now let's take a look at the currencies. US dollar, UUP, has been sort of neutral the last little while. It did well when the war started, and it's kind of started to reverse back down again. Bitcoin, GBTC, has been moving up over the last 6 weeks. The big picture, like in the short term, it's been pretty good. The big picture is still negative. You can see it broke down last fall when it broke the upward trend line. We talked about this earlier, built a falling top and has been in an downward trend since. It is starting to build rising bottoms, so it's looking better. I don't think it's a super strong market yet, but it is improving. Now the final chart, and the real reason why the small cap stocks are underperforming, and that's the bond market. So when the bond market goes down, it's essentially meaning that interest rates are rising. They have an inverse correlation. So bond prices have been going down because the US interest rates have remained stubbornly high. The US has not lowered rates the way many had hoped, and so the bond market slows down. Well, the bond market has the strongest, interest rates have the strongest effect on small cap stocks, more so than on large cap stocks. So because interest rates are remaining elevated, that's the thing that's hindering that small cap market. So my ratings then, if we just jump into those here, US large cap stocks bullish on both time frames, NASDAQ the same, US small cap bullish on both time frames, Canadian stocks neutral short-term, long-term bullish, gold now neutral on both time frames, oil short-term neutral, long-term bullish, US dollar neutral, Bitcoin short-term bullish, but still long-term neutral, and bonds neutral on both time frames. All right, now let's get into the trade of the week, and we'll look at a stock that was a good mover last week, and we'll take some of those skills that we learned at the top of the video and apply them to these charts here, or this chart. So this is a stock that we traded on Friday in my Stockscores active live service, and what we saw there was the market began to trade abnormally early in the pre-market session, around 8 o'clock, a little after, about 8:20 in the pre-market. See those pink and yellow dots there? That's an algorithm that I created for TradeStation that looks for abnormal price and abnormal volume. And it's the best clue that a stock is about to move. So we had a stock that was very low volatility, like we talked about, and then it starts to break with abnormal activity. And you can see it would go up, it would pull back. It would go up, it would pull back. And then it went sideways into the open, popped there shortly after the open, but still below resistance. So if we draw that line of resistance here, you can see that we were below that. It was only, I didn't draw that line perfectly, but you get the idea. It was only right here when it broke through resistance and did so from optimism, through resistance, from low volatility, that we telegraphed that big surge in price in AEHL. Now the stock was halted in the intraday chart there a number of times with some big price gaps. It would get halted for 10 minutes and then resume, gap up. Get halted, 10 minutes, resume, gap up. So you had to be on it early, right when it made that break through resistance from that sideways pattern. Using that action candle indicator helped to do that, and you can see the result. The stock more than doubled in a relatively short amount of time. It's not that hard. You keep it simple: support, resistance, optimism, pessimism, price volatility, and abnormal activity. You understand those 6 things and how they interrelate in charts, and you can predict where prices are likely to go. I hope that's been helpful. If so, do me a favor, click on that like button. Tell me, do you think the market is due for a crash? It's pretty extended, but there's no sign of weakness yet. Love to hear your thoughts. As always, trade well.